Right, hello. So, as Dr. Malcolm once said, life will find a way. So this filter setup's taken a little bit longer than expected. As always, life always throws all unexpected curveballs in there. And on my free time, I have basically, the weather has just not allowed me to carry on. So let's roll back the clock a little bit and we will see my progress so far. Right, so let's have a little look in the pond. It's been a few weeks since I've got this drum filter up and running. I've left it running, making sure everything's good. And until last night, it was. There are no leaks on the floor, that's all good. But what I did find this morning is the electrics had actually tripped. And I had to reset it from back in the house where they come from. So that's a little bit worrying. Now, I don't know if that's anything to do with the fact that I've got the drum set up in there, which it's been there a few weeks now, so I don't think so. But anyone that's living in the UK knows the amount of rain that we've had recently is it's crazy. Absolutely crazy amount of rain. So I'm hoping that might have something to do with it. Maybe wishful thinking, but we'll see how it goes. So we are mid-November now, and the fish don't appear to be affected by it at all. It couldn't have been out for very long, and because I'm not really feeding much at all at the moment, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. As you can see, well, might be able to see, the water's gone a little bit murky, but the fish are all still swimming around as they normally would do. So they all seem okay. Right, so with that turned on, let's move on to the task in hand. Speaking of electrics, it's going to be to put in some more plugs in the shed. These were only put in as a temporary thing just so I can keep the pond running. There are only two outlets being used. One is feeding in the drum control and one is feeding the pump that is in the bio sort of chamber, or the temporary one that's been there for 2 years, but we don't talk about that. Fish are fine over there after the power outage, so that is okay. Now we have got light, as you can see. It is off-centered if you it's not your eyes that are funny. It's to allow it to mainly be over the sort of drum and bio, so I can stand on this side and obviously see what I can see without any shadows. So with electrics, I've got obviously light switch, another socket in there, the original socket that was there, and another socket on this side, just in case, gives me the options. Now I have put them up the top because I might be putting shelves or units or stuff on the walls, so it gives me a little bit of space. That'll be moved as the pump controllers. So yeah, that is now in, which will obviously make the next jobs in here. I can do them when it gets dark outside. As everybody knows, this time of year it starts to get nice and dark really early. I'll be able to do some stuff in here. Now, next thing will be making some lids, I think. I'm going to have to put a bit of a border around the outside. And then I'm going to put some clear plastic, I think, as a lid, so I can see in it without actually having to lift it off. I'm also tempted to maybe make a clear lid for the drum as well, but I don't need to yet. Obviously, it's got a lid, sorry. So we'll see how it goes with that one. Right, so electrics are in. Let's get a lid knocked up, I think. So just quickly knocked out a ridge basically around the inside that I can put a cover on. I need to get some plastic to go over the top of it. I'm probably going to use just see-through like acrylic or something so I can see in it without having to take it off. I'm not looking at to put weight and things like that on the top, so it'll be easier. I can just have a quick glance in there, make sure it's all okay. So I need to get some of that, and with that done, I think we're going to move on to this tub. Now you're going to have to wait
for me. Well, you won't have to wait, I'll have to wait for some clear weather. Then I'm going to open this out and start transferring the media from in there to in there. When I take it apart, I'll show you what's in there, in case you're curious, to show you what's been keeping the pond running while I've been obviously building this whole shed setup. Definitely slowing down as the winter sets in, getting colder. Right, let's open this up, show you what's inside. Okay, this is my temporary filter. I say temporary, it's probably been running 2 years now. The bottom drain, you can see I've re-diverted into the side of this tub. Just comes on the inside there. And this is completely full with pea gravel and alpha grog. As you can see, there's lots of dirt and debris in there, because it also acts as the mechanical filter for the time being. And every so often what I do is I get a thin pipe and I just siphon off the top layer, gets rid of the worst of the dirt and debris. And as we can see from the water clarity, well, without the reflections, is very good. It's very clear. So this is a nice cheap solution. And to be honest, you could, if you're happy with keep cleaning it on a routine basis, you could just leave it like that. But I'm lazy, so I don't want to. So first step is I'm going to get the pipes out, start siphoning off the top, take the worst of the debris out, and then I can start moving these bags of stones and alpha grog. They are, I don't know if you can see, in bags. So I haven't got to worry about taking all of the stones out individually. I can just pick out a bag one at a time and swap them over. The other thing I did was I cut the lid off. This is just an IBC tank, basically. I cut the lid off and I just wedged it in the side as a basic diverter for the water. And underneath all of this, I've got some blocks to raise it off the floor and a big metal grid. So it all sits on it. And then the pump sits in this side. And then, so it, in theory, does suck it down through the majority of the water, out the bottom, into the pump, back into the pond. Just for all this temporary pipe work. So, let's get siphoning, get this cleaned out. So that's the top siphoned off. I haven't gone crazy with it, because the next step will be to take it out. There's stones and alpha grog. So first off, I'm going to take the stones out and put them on the little mat over there for the time being. Get the alpha grog out the bottom, dunk it in some pond water, and then put it in the biochamber over there. And then once that's all done, then the stones will probably go back on top, because it acts as basically another filter, basically, with the stones. It's been really good so far. So yeah, you can see all the individual bags of all the mesh stones. I'm going to get about to swap in, taking the stones out, swapping the alpha grog all over into this biochamber. Right, so let me get to that. Well, that was a bit of a pain. You can see how dirty the water's got in here. My shoes are definitely the wrong ones for doing this. Now, I've got the drum is currently off at the moment. It was draining the water so much in the usage, and I had to drain this tank down to be able to see what was going on. And then I've got all it filled up in here. Most of it is alpha grog. I've got a few layers of stone just on the top of like this one, and then I've got some alpha grog, some stone in there. In here is mostly just alpha grog, and I've got loads of like the sinter glass style media that we'd use in the fish tank at home. So I've probably got half a dozen little packets of that in here, so that can keep in here and be seeded. So should I need to sort of quarantine a fish or anything like that, I can whip out a bag of air and it's all seeded and ready to go. So that's the idea of that. I do still have plenty of stones left in the tub, probably about 5 bags full. As you see, I'm pretty much running out of space in here. There is still space down in the pump section that I could put some in, but I'm not sure if it's really needed, because I was using the Alpha Grog, which is this stuff here. I don't know if you can see it through the bags. It's basically like manufactured lava rock, I guess, as a comparison. And I was using the stones as a mechanical filter. But obviously I've got the drum filter now, so it's not so much needed with the stones, so not so much have gone back in. So anyway, that is where I'm at. As you can see, the water is just completely black. So I think I'll give an update on how it's going when it all gets turned on and cleared up. One thing I do know for sure is that drum is going to be working overtime. So anybody that's interested in how the Queenie koi gets on after a heavy use, I guess what time will tell. So as you can probably hear, the drum is currently running. It's running all of the time at the minute. I'll just let it stop. Okay, so I've had to lower the level sensor down a little bit in the drum. Otherwise it was not triggering fast enough and cutting out the pump. You see it's getting a little bit clearer in here, but I have removed a few of the bags of stones because it's just above the water level. No point being in there. There we go, drum going again. So it's going to be working overtime. I would say it's getting clearer, but I suppose it's not going to pick up any different on the on here. So yeah, anyway, I am going to leave it there for this video. I'm going to get in the warm, change my shoes, put some dry socks on, and let this thing do its job. I will get back to you in the next video, give you an update on how it's all got on. And there we go, on that note, catch you later.